friends. All right, so today we're going to be reading the book called The Mitten. And as I'm reading this book, I'm also going to be holding up this white mitten. And this mitten, you guys also have for our Google Meet today. And what I'm going to do is every time we go through an animal that goes in the mitten, I'm going to hold up the animal, and you guys can tell me if I was correct or not, okay? So a way that you guys can tell which animal comes next is as I'm reading, there's going to be this little mitten picture right here on the side. And on this little mitten is going to show what animal comes next. So that way you guys can guess which one, or tell me which one it's going to be before I put it in my mitten. Okay? All right, so let's make sure our eyes are watching and our ears are listening. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother Baba did not want to knit him white mittens. "If you drop one in the snow," she warned, "you'll never find it." But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I'll look to see if you are safe, and then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. There's the mitten. Remember, you guys can always look at our mitten right here to see what animal's coming next. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and buried himself inside. So here's our mitten, and we have a mole that just went inside our. All right, so let's keep reading. If we look at this picture, we have another animal. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a minute to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten. So he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. And there's our next animal. So let's go back to our mitten. We have a mole, and we have the rabbit. Good job. Next, a hedgehog came sniffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. So now we have 3 animals in the mitten. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. And you can look at our mitten right here to see what's coming next. So we have 3, but now we have an owl. Who's going to come in? So now there's 4 animals in the mitten. All right, so let's see which animal's coming next. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and then began to climb in it. The mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him some room. All right, so we have 4 animals in here. We have the 4, and now we have the badger. So there's 5 animals in the mitten. 5. All right. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw shiny teeth, they gave him lots of room. Remember, you can see what animal's going to come next. All right, let's see if I can hold this up because we have so many animals. So we have 5, oops, just lost one. 5 animals in here. And then we have to add the fox. So now we have 6 animals in our mitten. A giant bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left on the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? So the mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged so many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. So we have all 6 of our animals, and then now we have to add the big bear. So now we have a big bear inside. So there's all these animals. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wiggled into one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the bear's nose. All right, so we have all our animals in here. But now we also have a little mouse. And where did the mouse go in the mitten? Whose nose did he go on? He went on the bear's nose. So right here, he went on the bear's nose. So all these animals are in the mitten. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah, ah, achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten in the sky and scattered the animals in all different directions. Oh, what's going to happen next? In our mitten, we have Nicky. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was his lost mitten. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new white mittens. And if we look at this, look at the difference in the size of the mitten. One mitten is very big and the other one is smaller.